This
Um,
conference will now be recorded.
I will going to teach you today about the basic fundamentals and why the adoption and the ideal situations where you adopt the cloud. Okay, and after that we will have to go to the AVPC and we will doing all sort of part which are left on yesterday. Perfect. So this is the cloud forecasting stuff is there. Wait a second. Wait a second. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going here. This is cloud forecasting. So guys, because you have already done the three classes of my end, I just always tell you that it is very easy to working on the cloud at the same point of time because you have created a number of features. Okay, it's not a big deal because it will take only 2 or 3 minutes to create any kind of instances or VPC networking, RDS or cloud Lambda, all sort of stuffs. But the matter of fact that you have to understand the logic behind that, why we going to create it and what is a impact on the cloud for the same, and how much cost effective solutions we can provide. Okay, so before we going for the adoption of the cloud, we have to just if your company is working on the traditional IT infrastructure part, so you why you going to adopt, and you uh, cloud cost forecasting is a very important part. So in the previous classes, we have done some benchmarking of what is the best hardware for your company, what is the best software of your company. So at this same time, we have to suggest our management that this is the right approach for you to going for the cost-effective solutions at the same time. Okay, so this is again. So why cloud forecasting is matters for you? Could you please tell me that if I am a CEO of the company and you anyone guys coming from me and said we can go for the cloud, so is it matters for me or not? Any
Yes, it
idea on
matters
this?
because if, if we go for cloud, then one is we can reduce our cost, and another is our manpower. That also we can reduce our manpower because all depends on the cloud where we are going to hosting our all infrastructure.
Yes, absolutely right. So the matter of fact that the companies are going for the cloud infrastructure, that's because the cost is very important for them, right? Suppose your company have to launch a website very the which is required for the global environment. Okay, so it will take lots of infrastructure and IT infrastructure at the same time, and if you are aware about the capital expenditure and operational expenditure, it will take lots of time and the capital as well. But when you are working on the cloud, so it is very easy to doing it, and very cost effective solution, and you can, it's a flexible approach. You can just build your application and then you have to just uh, package you have to install onto the EC2 instances, and it is providing the auto scale kind of stuff, and load balancer, and provide a public IP at the same time, and you can just globalized environment, you can just send your applications. Okay, so we are just talking about the why cloud cost forecasting matters. Cost is one of the important factors in cloud adoptions, right? Why cost forecasting? Better understand of the cost elements in the cloud spend, optimize your deployments, different purchase options available, your deployments will grow, avoid bill shock and budget for it. So when we're talking about the forecasting kind of stuffs, it is optimize your deployment. If you have different kind of deployment because you are working on a globalized environment, this and the matter of fact that you have different features available in the AWS, and the number of things will be uh, fast growing changes in modernized time. So you have as per your demand, as per your demand of the markets, you can just adopt the technological changes in your AWS environment. Difficult to predict the cost. Growing infrastructure requirement, that is the only reason that I will tell you that this a growing infrastructure environment is requirement is all about different requirement of the different customer. Okay, suppose you are working in India and there are multiple clients of you, so the different clients have different requirements same time, so you will have to just change your IT infrastructure at the same time as the company requirement. Complex tiered pricing structures from cloud providers. So if you're talking about, we have a different clouds in the market like AWS, Azure, IBM software, Nutanix, or different clouds. So have different structure of pricing, different what cost effective solutions they can provide it, and prices keeps changing all the time, right? So how effectively you can just saving your cost, because what I feel actually for the last 3-4 years, which I'm working in the AWS environment and Azure and different clouds, we are working on it. So the client requirement is basically you have just cost saving all the time. If you are saving the cost of your company, you are the right engineer for them. You're the right solution architect for them. So the matter of fact that the number of people you will find out to working on the AWS, but the who is providing cost effective solution, and also at the same time who is the providing the disaster recovery kind of stuffs, and the business continuity kind of stuffs, he can understand more intelligently. He is the right or he or she is the right candidate for the AWS solution architect. So this is the matters for at the same time. Okay, so suppose you are working on the cloud and your company is going to the migration of all the existing applications over the cloud. So what you need to do is a free cloud cost forecasting. Three easy steps: define requirements plus growth patterns. Suppose your company, once you're working on a company, right? Today the different requirement, and after 3 years or after 5 years, there's a different requirement. So you have to understand the growth, basically growth pattern same time. This one, if you growth patterns, if you have well aware about the future, this is the requirement, and we can just make some modifications so that different kind of what instances is coming into the picture, and also different features availability in the AWS, like you can reserve the instances, you can go for the on-demand instances same time. Okay, so this is kind of stuff is there. 3 year and the detailed cost forecasting is available there. 3 years, 5 years on demand, reserved. This kind of you will find out into the AWS. So with you are very easy, and you're forecasting right way, and as per your capacity, as per your demand, you can just run the AWS instances, and you can just close the same times. Not about the EC2 instances, there are different features as per your requirement. You can just enable it. Pay as you go kind of stuff is there, and you can just use them and pay the money. And if it is not working, and then you can just shut down the things at the same time. And scenario building same times, different scenario. When you work, once you're working on the AWS environment, you have different scenario. You can just try it out, because first of all you have to just create your test environment, then you will have to move to the production environment. I think you have well aware about the VMware kind of stuff. In the VMware, what is exactly we are going to do it. First of all, we create a test environment in the VMware kind of stuff, and then if our test environment is working fine, then we will move through the instances to the production environment. So same kind of stuff you can also work on the same AWS. And the second thing is currently support at Amazon Web Services, Rackspace, Windows Azure, Google Compute Engine, and soft layers. So once you are choosing the cloud, okay, the matter of fact that what kind of support you will find out, right? The support is also important, because once you are going to fix, issues happen into the AWS environment or different environment. So, is there any kind of support providing by your service provider or not? Same time. So
So
the service
rack space, Mahesh, rack space is provided by which vendor?
Rackspace there. This is on is a vendor, I think. It's not providing anything. The Rackspace is their own. The cloud stack and OpenStack and Rackspace is either company which is providing the
Okay.
cloud.
And
Okay.
software is as well.
Pardon?
Software,
Software is IBM product.
IBM. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So most of the times, you know what, if you are going for the cloud, right? So the comparison between the Amazon, okay, for the Amazon Windows Azure, and if you are if your company is working on the, you know what, the VMware, okay, then you have to go for the software IBM, because the matter of fact that which cloud you have to choose. First of all, this thing is coming to the picture, and second thing is which is cost effective solution, and third thing is as per your data centers is disaster recovery, which we can go for it easily and cost effective way, and how can we run your business continuously. It depends, right? So why we going to choose the software of IBM? Just because if you have the multiple instances, more than 50 instances, then you will have to go for the software. Why? Because your existing company is using the VMware, right? And VMware have the licenses available. It is companies already invest on the licenses, so you can just move it on the soft layer IBM. But if you are going for the Amazon Web Services and Windows Azure, so you just cost saving. We can say that in the Glacier, you will just you know, you can store your terabytes, petabyte of data, and then you can store and cost-effective solution for the storage kind of stuff. So it is depend on the situation. I already in the first slide we have just talking about which cloud we have to choose it. It is depend on the situation, the demand, and the cost-effective solutions, the pricing part. Okay, so as per your you know what, intelligent approach, and you can just choose your best cloud. Okay, so we will go further. So I would like to tell you that what is the approach to the cloud. This ideal approach and this is a reality approach. Plan for the future. If you are ideal for this, you know, adoption of cloud, so plan for the future always. Not at the same time, because the, you know what, you, if you are working in a growing company, then it will, you know what, you have to capacity management, you have to go going for the same time. So if you're talking about the capacity management, you have to think for the future, what is the requirement in the future. Enable your organizations to use what you need today. Okay, measure, learn, and iterate on your future plan accordingly. So this is the ideal situation for your adoption of your cloud, because you have to think for the future, you have to learn the things, you have to measure the things. So so it's the very best thing we can say for the cloud of AWS, because you can just, you know what, providing some you know what, benchmark that if my bill is going for more than 70%, you will get an email, you will get a message at the same time. Okay, and you can just capacity management well, you can do it in the AWS environment as well. What is the reality? This is ideal approach as per we can say that. And what is the reality? Your organization is using what they need today. Every organization is doing it because they know that what is the best things we can do it today. Okay, this is the reality. But sometimes they will not think for the future. This is the you know what, we can say that one of the example is your Flipkart, because some time ago the big billion day was coming, and they are not able to, you know, understand the requirement, the customer queries. Okay, and the site was down at the same time. Okay, so they are depend on the, you know what, the as per the reality they need for today. Okay, not for the future. So in the AWS environment, you just go for the scalability set, and then you can just go for the load balancing stuff, and as per your scalability, the servers are all automatically, you know what, create same time, and they will sharing the load same time. So it's very easy in the AWS environment. You have to figure out what's going on. So this is another reality of the cloud. Basically, if you're working on the AWS environment in your company, and then is there any wrong happen, or is there any issues happen, then you have to figure out what is going on, why it is going on, how can we resolve the issue. Okay, so there is no proactive approach, we can say that, because AWS, because you are managing your environment in the private way. So what kind of, you know what, proactive approach you can go for it? Suppose you not configure the CloudWatch, CloudTrail, Inspector, different services available, alarm we can create, and we can also create for the SNS services. So this is the operational excellence. If you're not doing it, then you have to go for the active approach. Plan for the future accordingly. So we are just making the plan in the reality, but we are not executing at the same time in the cloud. So make sure that if you are working on the cloud, or if you have to migrate on the cloud, you have to just understand the ideal approach of the cloud and the reality approach of the cloud. So most of the times you have to convert your reality into the ideal situation. Okay, so figure out what's going on. So where I am exposed to how things are configured. First thing is, if you're a security guy, if you a security architect of kind of person, so first of all you have to understand that every company is hacked is all the time unless they will know that. Okay, and how things are configured. So what is the right way to configure of your applications? The matter of fact that we are in the AWS, it is you think that very easy to configure all sort of informations or features, but you have to understand that why I was configured, and what is the impact on this, and what is the pricing part, and what is the right approach to configure any features. Suppose I will give you example. Suppose you're working on if you're working on the VPC part, right, and if your environment is private, and you just take a internet gateway, or you just create a internet gateway, public elastic IP address, you can use it, but there is no use of it, because private environment, you don't require a public IP address. And if you you know what you have to take the elastic IP address, then it will charge you money at the same time. So what is the right approach to doing things? If you don't require any features, you don't have to go for it. And visibility, how does that monthly cost breakdown, and what are these resources being used for? So my dear friends, because if you're working on the AWS environment all the time, your management says that please provide some cost-effective solutions. How can we reduce the cost all the time? How can we go for the service can be, if we disable this service, which is getting high prices, what impact on the organization? So we have to well aware about it, which one thing which features you're going to what talking about, and why it is important for your company as well. And if you close this particular feature, then what is the impact on the organization as well? So wide range of pre-packaged solutions into this AWS, we can say that. So open sources is HA proxies available, Apache, MySQL, and also application server technologies, Ruby, PHP, and Python. These are the open source kind of stuffs. So if you're working on cloud solutions, we have some open source available. It's like OpenStack is your open source kind of stuffs. But it is depend on your company or your organization that they will accept or not accept it. Okay, and the popular stacks is 3-tier stacks for PHP, Java, IIS, .NET, Python, RDBMS, and MySQL, Postgres, MySQL, ISP and support load balancing, RDBMS and NoSQL database, and technologies, applications monitoring, and agents and stored on the scripts. So wide range of pre-packaged solutions we have to find out into this AWS. So it's very not easy to work on the AWS environment, because the matter of fact that the features are available. You have to understand what is all about, and how can we use it in a cost effective way. So monitoring and automation. So how can we know that what is going on, where to going on? So the source monitoring we can do it, server and application monitoring we can do at same time. We can run on the CloudWatch. Okay, and suppose you required some as a what are permissions, who did what, so we can go for the CloudTrail at the same time. So it is also used in your ISO. If your company is going for the audit, and the ISO person required the permissions, what happened actually, we required logs, CloudTrail we required, audit trail we required. So you can go for it in what monitoring kind of stuffs, alerts and escalations. So you will find out in the AWS same time. Capacity management, if you're going to go for it. So there is option is available auto scaling in the AWS. You just enable the auto scaling, and if you're working on the 3 servers, web server, development server, database server, and when the load is very high, it is automatically create the servers for you at the same time, and the load sharing between the 3 to 5 server, 6 server, whatever whatever your configuration as per your policy you have defined. Deployment orchestrations, database backup, failover recovery scripts, execution and code delays, deploys and patches. So you can just do it because all the features are available on the AWS environment. So you can just configure it as per your requirement. That is very easy, in the AWS. So what happens when? So suppose there is example is showing that an availability zone goes down. Then what you need to do it? Shows screenshot on dependent on the interactive servers, describe process of relaunching servers. So your availability goes down, your EC2 instances goes down, your services goes down, because in the cloud, because you don't have too much control, because you are working on the only console or CLI mode or SDK environment only. Okay, the backend process of AWS or Azure, it depend what kind of services they can provide, and how much support they provide you once you are in problem, right? So what you can do it at the same time, your application or infrastructure requires a hotfix use and screenshot. So what we can do it, we can do it for the disaster recovery kind of stuff. We will talk later on the slides, and we can go for the business continuity kind of stuffs to get the answer of this particular questions. Then availability zone goes down, that what you need to do it, we will talk later on the slides. Yes, cloud computing benefits. So I think you all are aware about this. No upfront cost capital. You're working on the company, and right at the same time you have to migrate to the AWS. And company says if you are going to build 5 servers, so what will be the cost? So you can simply go for the AWS calculator. You just find out that this is the cost kind of stuffs. You can go for the S3 and you will find out the cost. You can go for the database and you will find out the cost. Okay, we require 5 public IP address. You will just find out what is the cost of the 5 public IP address cost. So very easy to get the calculation at the same time. It's a very low cost. We can say that there is no delay, there is no time for go for the vendors and ask what is the cost of the server. So which is low cost kind of things. Pay only for what you use. Self-service infrastructures easily scale up and down as per your requirement. Improve agility and time to market. So what happened after the cloud happened? This cloud computing fault tolerance benefits. We can create a HA, high availability and low cost. We can go for the backup same time. If you require some low cost in our storage, you can just take the backup, and it is for tolerance. We can do it into this. Pay for only disaster recovery only when you use it. Okay, so if you create a disaster recovery kind of stuff, suppose you have create another region, and you migrate your applications to a different region, you have to create a disaster recovery same time. And if you are working, if your disaster recovery, if your different region is you have enabled the servers, it will cost you. If you're not enable it, there is no cost same time. Self-service disaster recovery infrastructure same time. Deployment kind of stuff, easily deliver fault tolerant applications and improve agility and recovery. We're going further. AWS building blocks 2 strategies. So once you're going for the strategies, okay, in the AWS, so what kind of strategy you can create? Inherently fault tolerance services. So these are the services which is already fault tolerant from the AWS side. Okay, S3, MongoDB, SWS, SQNS, SNS, SES, load 53 is like a DNS, load balancing, elastic cache, map reduce, and management, AWS identity and access management. Okay, and the services that are fault tolerant with the right architectures. So Amazon EC2. So what kind of architectures you have provided? What kind of services you have enabled into this EC2 instances? So it is depend on the you going for the fault tolerance kind of stuff same time, right architectures, because it is your dependency, right? You have what kind of things you will create, and this is already provided by the AWS. You cannot go going for the fault tolerant kind of stuff. Suppose you are you created the identity and access management. There is a permissions you can provide. You can provide the policies. Okay, is anything goes wrong as fault tolerance kind of stuff. So this is the AWS kind of things. You will just take a help of the AWS that this is the what this has happened actually. But there is just you can just do modifications like that. Each two instances you can go for the reserved on demand whatever. You can enable the cloud watch or not cloud watch. You can enable public IP address or private IP address, which range you can provide same time. So number of things you can just modifications in the EC2 as per your fault tolerance environment. Amazon virtually is the same VPCs there. So it's depend on the you have to enable the elastic IP address or internet gateway you enable or not enable the endpoints you will create or not create into this, and also you can go for the VPN environment or non environment. So this is depend on you that what kind of stuffs you are just providing at the same point of time. Amazon Elastic Block is a storage kind of things. So it just depend on your what kind of EC2 instances you have created and what kind of hard disk, right? The storage you have to map into the instances. There are the two types of things. The simple hard disk where the input output read write speed is low, and if you're going for the SSD solid state drive kind of stuff, so the input output read write is very high. You can say that read and write the speed is very high. So the queries comes to your as if you're working on the EC2 instance and it's the web server, right? And it will have to respond the queries of the customer, right? So it is very important for EC2 instances to read and write on the hard disk is very providing queries answer at the same point of time is very highway. So you can just go for the EBS and you have to map the solid state drive, which is very high input output read writes ability. So you can just map to the particular EC2 instance, right? So it is very important prospects. Amazon relational database service, so you can go for the Amazon RDS relational database if you're working on the SQL kind of stuffs, right? So you can just go for the RDS kind of stuffs. So this is the strategies you can just create. How can I use the effective, cost effective way and the flexible approach, and what is the right approach to work on the AWS environment. This are all of sort of things you can just go for create some strategies. Okay, so terminology we are discussed about. Suppose your availability zone goes down. Suppose your any disasters coming to your AWS environment, or anything would be happen in the cloud. Okay, so we have to ready for it. So the first thing is terminology is fault tolerance. This is this high availability we required at the same time, and disaster recovery. These are the some terms where we can implement on the cloud, or sorry, in the data center. If you ever work on the data centers, this is the terminology comes to your mind, that is this fault tolerance, all the applications are fault tolerance or not fault tolerance. So any EC2 instance goes down, any storage goes down, database is corrupted, whatever, anything can be happen into the data center environment, or so you can go for the fault tolerance kind of stuff. Ability of a system to continue operating properly, perhaps at that degraded level if one or more components fails. So fault tolerance it means that it is not your downtime. As per your SLA, there is no downtime, but your services can be degraded same time. High availability means fault tolerance systems are measured by their availability in the terms of planned and unplanned service outages for the end users. So in the high availability where you planned your secondary data centers, you can say that secondary site where you created different availability zone, different data centers, or different availability zone you have created your data centers. Okay, disaster recovery. So a disaster is happened actually. In this there is no disaster happen, but you just creating the planning for the future. What if the things happen? What you need to do it? And in the disaster recovery, disasters happen. Okay, so the process, policies, and procedures relating to the restoring critical systems are after a catastrophic event. Goal is to set applications back up and running within the defined time period RTO, recovery time objective, and within a certain data loss window RPO, recover point of objective. So that the matter of fact that if your is any services goes down, if any availability goes down, so how effectively, how can you recover your instances or your data or your databases, your storage? So what kind of policies you have created, what kind of what process you have? So this is very important for any company. So they are working on any company is working on the fault tolerance part, high availability part, and a disaster recovery part all the time. Because business continuity, if we are working on the three things, the business continuity will be working smoothly at the same time. Okay, so we'll go further. So terminology continued with this recovery time objective. This is RTO and recovery time objective. So you have to just keep in memorize all the time, because it is also important questions in the AWS Solution Architect exam. Okay, the time period in which service must be restored to meet the BCP business continuity planning objective, and the recovery time objective is to acceptable data loss as a result of a recovering from a disaster and catastrophic event. So in this, the recovery time point objective is basically the disasters happen, and after the disaster happen, how much time taken to service working smoothly same time, right? So how much time, how much delays to recover your existing infrastructure. So that is the time is recovery point of objective, and the recovery time objective is basically the time period in which service must be restored to meet the BCP. How much time it just takes? Suppose you're going, you just you're working on a AWS environment, and you are just providing create a S3 and bucket, and then you have created some policy, and all the data should move to the Glacier, right? And any disaster has happened at the same point of time, and then what you need to do it, your Glacier data should be coming to your S3, and it will be working same time. You can just map to the AWS or EC2 instances. So the speed of the Glacier is small. Okay, it will take lots of time, 2 or 3 or 4 hours. It depends on the how much data you have. So this is the recovery time objectives. How much time you will have to find out to recover your business, to business continuity. How much time to take to business continuously working same time. Okay. So designing for the future, right? Everything fails all the time. The Wagner Wessel CTO Amazon.com is already tells you that everything is fails into the all the time in the AWS environments. So what you need to do it? You have some proactive approach you require in the AWS environment. Large scale failures in the cloud are rare but do happen. Okay, this is the things said by the CTO of the Amazon. So you have to be prepared for the same time. Applications owners are ultimately responsible for availability of and recoverability, balance cost and complexity of HA efforts against this if you are willing to bear. Cloud infrastructure has made DR and HA remarkably affordable versus past options. Multi-servers you can get, multi-availability zones, in different locations, different availability zone data center, and multi-region. Suppose the multi-availability zones means that if you are hosting your applications or your EC2 instances in the USA locations, and in the USA locations you have to find out different availability zones. Okay, multi-region, it means that different country. Okay. So designing for the failure basic concepts. So fault tolerances is the goal. Degradation of service may occur, but application continues to function. So first of all, if you're talking about the fault tolerance kind of stuff, you can you just think your mind that we can go for the fault tolerance kind of stuff. You can just degrade your services at the same time, but it will not be disrupted, or it will not be shut down. So okay, avoid single point of failure and assume everything fails. Remember Warner's mantra and design accordingly. Plan and practice your recovery process, both HA and DR. Remember that better HA and DR equals more dollars. So find that acceptable balance. The matter of fact that, my dear friends, because if you're working in the MNC, and where the the depend on the how much price, how much cost will be bear by the company will be bear the cost that we can go for the high availability or disaster recovery, because it will charge you money, because same kind of infrastructure you have to create in a different region or different availability zone. Okay, so it is you are depending on the money, how much you company will be bear, or your client providing the money same time in dollars, because technology always required money into to providing some disasters things to recover at the same time. So general HA best practices: avoid single point of failure. Always place one of the each component load balancers, application servers, database at least two availability zones. Replicate data across availability zone HA and backup or replicate across regions for failover disasters. Set up monitoring alerts and operations and to identify and automate problem solution resolution of failover processes. So if you're working on a new company as a there's a hardware also available on the high availability. So the your prime motive is basically not to avoid single point of failure at the same time. Okay, and if things happen, so how do you monitor your things, alerts, and if you have if lock is coming, so you have to just check what happened actually, what's going on at the same point of time. So HAs is very important, but the matter of fact that how do you convince your management that HA is required, because HA is basically created in different location, and then you have to just bear the money at the same time. Okay, so I will give you some scenarios like that, different high availability zones. So multi-zone high availability basically is you have to configure the DNS servers and the load balancers and different application servers. If you take a look over there, wait a second. Yeah, this is the DNS servers. This is route 53. You can configure it, and there is a load balancer of one side, and the load balancer on another side. This is a different subnet, and you have a specific application servers. Okay, and you can configure on the all the servers at the auto scale group. So as per the requirement, it will increase the size of the servers, and it will decrease the size when there is no load. Okay, and then you can just go for the master DB database is there, and there's the ABS volume, because ABS volume why we required high read write, high input output. It will send the queries answers very shortly. Okay, so so the multi availability zones, because you have just created the same things there and all the application working, but you need to create master data database and this slave database. So if these servers can anything happen, the auto scaling group is coming to the picture. The load balancer we have created this one, and this secondary load balancer you can create here, but the database is lost here. If you have single database, it is, and master is goes fail, but then there is no solution on this. So what we're going to do it, we have to create another database server, slave database, and then you can just replicate to each other same time. Okay, this is multi zone HA. Okay, so HA and DR. HA is high availability and disaster recovery checklist for risk mitigation. So determine who owns the architectures, disaster recovery process, and testing. So it is depend on your company and your processes and your policies, your standard policies which you're creating, that who's creating the architecture part and who is the process and testing is doing at the same time. Develop expertise in-house and get outside help. Conduct a risk assessment of each application, specify your target RTO and RPO, design for failure, starting with application architecture. This will help dive to infrastructure architectures. So the matter of fact that if you're going for the HA and the disaster recovery kind of checklist, there's lots of that is why we create the disaster recovery and high availability. So first of all, you have to understand which applications, which things is most important for your company. Without it, they will can't run the business. right? So as per your plan, as per your is the standard, the process which you're creating, right? So you have to plan for the HA and disaster recovery. Okay. And second thing, so you have to specify the what is RTO and what is RPO kind of things. How much company will bear the risk when the application is not running? Okay. And how much time to recover the particular applications to same time, develop the expertise in house, and what is your incident response plan team is available or not available. Okay. So you will because your mind should be working more intelligently same time, and you have to think like a CTO, chief technical officer of your company, because anything goes happen, then what's your plan of action during the same time? Do we have the specified team is available to working on the same platform? Do we have a high availability same times? Do we have the disaster recovery times? Do we have created the RTO same time? Do we have the RPOs is available? And how do you design of your applications? You have to create, you have to just change your design if it is in not effective way. So this is all sort of things you have to keep in mind once you're working on the AWS environment and HR and DR. And that is also the 2 points is telling you that you are the architect of the particular AWS. It does not means that you are just creating the EC2 instances and you have just mapped to the VPC, and this is very easy stuff, so you can do it. But the matter of fact that when the issues happen, then the what you're going to do at the same time, because there is no much control, but your designing pattern, your architecture approach, this tells you that what cost effective solution you can just provide it. Okay, so the implement HA based practices, balancing cost, complexity, and risk, automate infrastructure or for constantly and reliably, document operation process and automation, test the failover, test the best, and then test it again, release the chose monkey. So what are you going to do it work? Because if you are working in an environment where you have lots of applications are running, so first of all you go for the test environment created, and then it is working fine, then you have to go for the production same time. Okay, without testing, you don't have to go for this particular production environment, because it will create lots of issues in the future, and there is no risk mitigation plans you just created. And second things, once you're working on the cloud environment, first of all create the document same time, because you are working in the AWS environment, and sometime later some different person will be coming in your company as no onboarded in the cloud, and he don't know what is going on. So first of all, if you have the proper documentation, proper designing of your architecture, it will really help to the other person to understand what's going on. And suppose you have to provide some informations to the AWS person, or you can say your top management, so they will easily to understand that what is things is going on, how it is working, what is the control process, what is the data process is going on. So it is very really important for the future of the company as well, and your as well. So multi-region cloud DR options. So what actually is this? They are the four terms of the DR. We can say that. So core DR is basically most common. We find it. But what happened? This is the downtime is more than 1 hour is 99% is availability. If you're talking about the warm disaster recovery, this is recommended for any organizations, and this is 1 hour downtime as well, and also 99% is available. If you're going for the hot disaster recovery plan, least common, it is 99.9 and 5 minutes downtime. And if you're going for the multi-cloud HA live config, then there is 0% downtime and 19% available. So we will talk for all four disaster recovery or kind of stuffs. Wait a second. Yes, so this is multi-region cloud disaster recovery. So we already talked about it. We have a DNS servers available, load balancer we can create it. This is the 3 servers web servers available. This is master DB, and you have created another slave DB same time, and this is the ABS volumes you have mapped it, and the snapshot is also provided to your EBS volume or different locations. So your master goes down, this slave is available. If this server goes down, this is two servers are working same time. If any load balancer is not providing load, the second is working. This is your code. Okay. So stage servers configurations and generally no stage data not recommended if rapid recovery is required. Slow to replicate data to other cloud and bring database online. So it is what we can say that it is what if your region is goes down, then there is a problem. But if your region is not goes down, then you can master to slave and it will replicate in the same region, and it will take little time to doing the things. So it's a code. If your company is not paying too much money about it, you go for the code things, my dear friends. Okay, then go for the warm DR, disaster recovery. So this is what the recommendations is most of the time, because stage server configurations, pre-staged data and running slave database servers generally recommended for DR solutions. So this is the what recommendations for AWS team, because they will tell that go for the warm disaster recovery, minimal additional cost and allows fairly rapid recovery. So what happened actually, this is the one region, okay, and the DNS servers are 253 you have created, the load balancers, the three servers, you can go for the auto scaling same time if it is more load on the servers, okay. And then the master DB, this is slave DB, and this is the ABM, same stuff is there. But what you're going to do it, go for the different region or different what availability zone, create a load balancers and not active at the same time, the three servers created but not active same time. But you can just create a different availability zone, US West, this US East, a different availability zone, you can just create a slave DB. So suppose your region is goes down, then there is a problem here. It is because this is the US East and this is the US West. Okay, this is the US East and the US West. So if your US location goes down, then everything lost. Okay, and if it is your US East goes down, you can recover your data from the slave, and you can also same time you can start your web servers, you can starting your load balancers, because these are not active, because once you're going for the active both things, it will charge you money, my dears. Okay, so if your company is providing the money for the what, go for the active kind of stuffs, go for it to enable it. If you're not providing the what, they will not charge you money for that. You can just disable not active, you just create them but not active same time. And when it is what disasters happen here, you can just enable them. It will take little time, I think 1 hour as we have expected time, and enable it, then it is working the same time, the second location. Okay, so most of the times we have to recover our data, database. So another HA, disaster recovery, multi-region disaster recovery. So this is what multi-region hot disaster recovery is we are just talking about. So here this same thing is there, but you have to just enable that all sort of things here, all sort of things here. Not recommended because very high additional cost to allow rapid recovery, right? This is HA active mode, right? So it is goes down, then it is already working at the same time. So there is no downtime at the same point of time, no problem whatsoever. But it will charge you lots of money. I will let you know the money in the later of the slides, how much charge it. Okay, this is hybrid environment. This is what US East locations is. This is some different location, I think. Yeah, Chicago. This is different location. So the same thing is going on. So it is more what geographically you have just changed your data center. Okay, and you have to just the redundancy in the in the load balancers, the application servers, and your database at the same time. Master slave you have created, but also you can also create the slave is there. Okay, and this is the application servers. They are what applicated to each other, and the load balancers are talking to each other. So it is very hybrid approach. Okay. So automating HA and disaster recovery is basically depend on the DNS, what kind of things you have created, and then the automatic approach, what you are going to do it. No minimal and automation, no DNS servers and automated. promotion to slave to master, process is automated, and decisions to run the process. Okay, so this is the slide which I'm talking about, the the total the disaster recovery cost comparison sheet. So multi-region cost, cold DR, multi-region warm DR, and multi-region hot DR. So this is not this is the prices which we are just talking about. So you can just calculate your disaster recovery and different load balancer, application servers, master AWS 1 DB. So you can just take the cost same time. You know what the currently cost, what happened is this is the old cost which I've taken it, but you can just go for it AWS calculator. You can just find out the latest cost of the particular things which you below. You've seen it. Okay, so says 3 load balancer, application server, slave, and so you just find out the total cost there. You can just find out total cost there and total cost there. So this is the comparison sheet. You can just compare which things we have to go for it, how much charge we will getting, and the company will be beer or not beer. Just depend on the company, and then you can just make a plan, make a design of this particular disaster recovery. Okay, so this is the slide at the end of the slide basically. So we have just came to understand that do we require the high availability, do we require the disaster recovery, what kind of disaster recovery is in the AWS environment, and how can we effectively work on the AWS environment. So that's all of things we have just calculated, and it is also a price, lots of price, we have lots of money investing kind of stuff. So this is depend on your company and what's your approach on this. So depend on the situation. Okay, so is there any questions you will ask to me in this slide, or can we go further?
No, it's fine. It's fun.
Okay, so that I will just tell you the thing, because you know what, it is very important as a cloud architect, because you know what, the matter of fact that you are just creating number of things, number of features enable on it, and you understand all sort of features. But the matter of fact that if you are working on the real environment of the data center, right, in the data center you required some uh, fantastic approach. How do you deal with this particular issues happen, and proactive approach uh, to sort of the issues at the same time. So that is all about what the availability, disaster recovery, RTO, RPO, you have to understand. Okay, so let's move to the particular we I think we are working on the AWS environment. Yeah. So are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the what is virtual, what is VPC we have talked yesterday. Okay, so I think is not a big issue for you to understand this thing. We have done practical as well. So the theoretical concepts I will send you one of the the this particular PDF to your web mail. Okay, the features of VPC is basically attached one or more network interface you are connected. So very easy to understand. You just read it. Okay. So I don't want to waste your time in this particular things. Okay, internet gateway, elastic network gateway, route tables. This is routing tables, right? Where you map to your source and destinations. Internet gateway basically is used for providing the public access to your instances. Net gateway we are just talking about today, and net gateway is basically provide your private. I suppose you're working on your company have a database server, and it is required public access, so you can go for the netting is okay. DSCP option set is basically providing different providing DSCP options, and DNS kind of stuff is available there in this. DNS is also there. Okay, the VPC pairing, you have to connect your two EC2 instances, okay, which have some different IP address, but it is remain in the same region. Okay, so it is free of cost. You don't have to bear the cost to the connecting with the two instances each other. VPC endpoint, basically once you have any kind of issues with your S2 instances or anything, so you can just privately connect with the AWS team. So VPN basically is virtual private network, which we are talking about. So side to side gateway, side to side VPN, we are going to create it. Okay, and there is only 3 steps is available. It's very short steps available into the AWS environment, but you will have to go for the very depth into this VPN, because it's very important for any organizations to create the private infrastructure, private security of the environment, right? So go for this later on. We will just talk about the AWS environment here. And the VPC type is default VPC. Suppose you have delete your VPC, default VPC, you have to contact to the AWS team and they will recover for you. Okay, non-default VPC we have to create for your own organizations for different IP address range. Okay, and we have to map to the particular EC2 instances and as per your public or private subnet, we can say that. Okay, non-default subnet is also available there. So this is private subnet. Private subnet means that we have created that the instance is this one, and this one they are communicating to each other in a private manner. There is no public things is available there. Okay, by default each instance has a private address but no public address. Once you created any subnet, it is a private. Okay, if a subnet doesn't have the root to the internet gateway, the subnet is known as private subnet. These instances can communicate with each other but can't access the internet, right? So we will move further. This public subnet, once your servers are going to speak to the outside of the world, it is going to create a public subnet, and we have to provide a specific elastic IP address. You may say that internet gateway you can just go for it, or elastic IP address you can map it to your existing EC2 instances. Okay, and then it is the VPN connectivity. Connect to the VPC corporate data centers using VPN connections and AWS extensions for your data centers. Okay, and this is also very important prospects for the security point of view. First of all, you have to understand this is a very, once you're going for the interview and if you going appear with the AWS solution architect exam, you have to provide us some information on the security group and network access list. And what is the difference between two things? It is operate at the instance level, first layer of the defense, and operates at the subnet level. So once you're going for the subnet, you have to create a network access list. And security groups operate at the instance level. Suppose you have created a Windows instance, okay, and Windows instance is always going for the RDP kind of things. So you have to enable the port number 3389 to talking to the taking the remote session of your Windows systems. Or suppose you are working on the Linux operating systems in the instance, EC2 instance, then you have to enable the port number 22 for SSH kind of steps to access your server from remotely, right? So this is a security group kind of steps, and which traffic you have to allow, which traffic you have to deny, we have to define in the network access list. Supports allow rules only there, right? Supports allow rules and deny rules. It is stateful, it is stateless. Evaluate all rules before deciding whether you allow traffic, or the number of orders, or deciding whether the allows traffic or denied traffic. Okay, so this is the basically diagram is all about security group. We can create this traffic will be allowed, then we can go for the network access list also. This traffic is allowed or this traffic is not denied. Okay, so this is the difference between access control rules. Basically, this is the HTTPS port number 80. If you are, so most of the times, if you are working on the web applications, web server, you have to enable the 80 and 443 on your web server. If your instance is Windows OS, then you have to enable 3389 port number for the RDP. And if your instance is a Linux server, then you have to enable the SSH port number 22, allow same time, and all traffic will be denied. Okay, inbound rules. This is the outbound rules. We can go for it. This is enable HTTPS custom, and all traffic will be denied. So this is kind of access list you can create. This is also important for any company. Application flows enables you to capture information about the IP going network interfaces in your VPC flow log data stored on Amazon CloudWatch logs. So we will discuss later on. Peering, it means that the different IP addresses of your VPC A, VPC B, and they will talk to each other. So we have to create a manually peering there in the instances. We will go for this is the limitations of how many VPC you can create for per region. This is the limitations, and you will also find out in the AWS environment as well. Okay, so we will go for the some lab kind of stuff is there same time. Okay, okay. So we just talking about the elastic IP address. First of all, elastic IP address which we just communicated. I will share you one slide as well. So what is elastic IP address? It is, yeah. The elastic IP address is a static IP version for address is designed for dynamically cloud computing. And elastic IP address is associated with your AWS account. With an elastic IP address, you can mask your failure of an instance of software by rapidly mapping the address of another instance in your account. Elastic IP address is a public IP as in for address which is reachable from the internet. If your instance does not have a public IP address, you can associate with the elastic IP address with your instance to enable communicate with the internet. For example, connect to the instance to your local computer. And AWS does not currently support the IP version 6 of your elastic IP address. So elastic IP address mostly we are using as a public IP address kind of stuff. Suppose you have 3 instances same time web application servers, you are just providing the one elastic IP at the same time. Suppose your one instance goes down, then the same IP address, the same public IP address will be mapped to the 2 different application servers sometimes. So customers doesn't care about where my query is going on, and thus your server is reachable at the same point of time, right? So this is the used for the elastic IP address. Okay, we were just talking about some more things. VPC endpoints. This is VPC endpoint. You can create your own application in your VPC and configure it as an AWS private link. Okay, private links you have to just connect to the AWS environment same time. Net gateway. Suppose you have a specific servers are available instances in your environment, and you have to just communicate with the outside of the world. Then you have to create for net gateway. It's network address translations, public to private, private to public kind of stuff is there. Suppose your database, you have to just suppose there is a database servers, and suppose your database server is available, and then you have to communicating with the outside the public internet. So you cannot map the public IP address, you have to go for the netting kind of stuff. So the limited internet access you can provide your database server. Egress only internet gateways, and egress internet gateways is horizontally scaled, didn't highly scalable VPC command outbound communications with IP version 6. So it is used for the egress. Egress is already used for always to communicate with the outside of the world. Okay. DSCP option set. The DSCP option set is configuration protocol. DSCP provides a standard for passing configurations information on the host or TCP/IP network, right? So it is basically for providing the DSCP kind of stuff there. So most probably we are not using it at the same point of time, but it is company says we require the domain name and we require the DSCP kind of stuff. Then we have to configure it. So it is required some IP address of your servers. VPC endpoints to communicate with the outside of the world. We can just going to use it, the private link. Okay, so we are just going for some practical sort of stuff because we have studied a lot of theoretical part here. So I'm just going to let you know the some practical approaches there. So this is a public elastic IP address. One elastic IP address free. If you going for another elastic IP address, it will charge the money. So simply you can just click on it here and wait a second. It is So elastic IP address of which VPC you have to map to the elastic IP address, and it is mapped with a particular VPC account. So very easy. Only just 1 or 2 click, you will just map your elastic IP address to the VPC, and it will be communicated same time. What happened?
I think you have to click on allocate.
Yeah. This is same. Left new IP address, same there. Allocate the new IP address of it is which it will be used. Wait a second, it is very easy. No. Okay. So you just create your own. I think there is some issues there. So it's very simple there. You have to just map your VPC account to the elastic IP address. I think there is some issues right now currently. That's why it is not coming. So if you are facing some challenges, just let me know in this next class. I will help you out in the same time, right? So we are just talking about some network access gateway. So create a network access list, and then we just create the name, test environment, and then you just map it over there, and it is created. And you have to just create inbound rules, outbound rules, and also which traffic you have to allow, which traffic have to deny. So these sort of things we can do it here. This is the same time, and you can just in subnet associations, what subnet you have to going to edit. This is very simple steps. So network access list basically allow the traffic or deny the traffic. And security groups is basically, suppose we once we creating any instances, so what you're going to do it, you have to just providing the which allow permissions, which protocols. Test is there. This option is available. Okay. Okay, which VPC you have to go for it, test one. Okay. And then you can just allow the number of requests, what we can say that which traffic will be allowed, which traffic will be denied, all sort of things.
Mahesh,
Right?
the access list is implicit deny, right?
Yeah, the network access list is basically deny the traffic, which things will be allowed, and all the traffic will be denied. And security groups, we have to allow which traffic. Suppose you are using the RDB server, or if you're using the Linux server, go for SSH enabled over there. Okay. And if you're running a MySQL server, then go for the 1433 enabled. So this is only allow kind of stuff, right? The customer gateway, in the VPN, we're just going to create over. So for this is the customer gateway, provide the public IP address of your gateway. Okay. And here it is, they name it, and it will be created for you. Okay, this is then you have to go for the VPN connection. I create a VPN connections over there, and there's a name and VPN gateway, which gateway you have just to create it. Okay, your existing gateway is VPN gateway is this one. You're coming out inside to outside, right? So we have created the gateway. You remember that, right? So we have mapped a particular gateway, providing the name is there, test, and customer gateway existing, customer gateway ID, whatever the ID will be providing. Suppose you are a public IP address, right? 180 or whatever your ISP IP address. So what you can just provide your gateway ID, so it will be connected dynamically with the BGP.
So this virtual private gateway was previously created in your account?
Pardon?
That virtual private gateway, which you have just clicked like VGW-852B, that was previously created, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is previously created. Yes.
Okay, so when we are doing new, so we have to create this one.
Yeah. Yes. So this is the tunnels we were just talking about in the later on, you know what, later on. Okay, so if you create a tunnel, then you have to just name of the tunnel inside IP address, what type of tunnel, the second tunnel, three shared key. This because just read on the, just go for the VPN. You know what, you know what, read some VPN information, then you will easily understand what it's all about. Okay. So this is all about, and the elastic IP address, the DHCP options. This is required some IP address of your, you know what, the server. So if you have just providing the domain name or 1 TB server, if you have information available of your company, then you just write down here, and it will create a dynamic host configuration protocol. DHCP is there. Okay, and peering connections. If you, just very simple to use it. Just click on it, and then you have to peering the name of the tag and the VPC. Okay, which VPC you have to create it. Go for here. This is one association of one address, and select another VPC. Okay, this is your same mail account or another account. Suppose you have two different AWS accounts, so you can just map different account as well. The same region on different regions, you can just click over here and just click here, and it will be associated to test 1 to test 2. Okay, so they are communicating to each other. Whether it is same region, not region, this is the different IP address range. Okay, or this same AWS account or different email account, you can go for it. So these are all are the basically the VPC. You just practice it on it, and if any issues you face, just let me know on Monday. Then we will discuss further on this. Okay. So any questions?
Okay.
Any confusion on this? Right. So we will just I will get in touch with you on Monday at 7 o'clock sharp. Okay. And in this rest of the time, you just work on it, and if any confusion, any issues, okay, this most welcome. I will provide you the answers for the same.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.